Warm welcome to my learning podcast. This is Ravi Jagarlapudi, Director, Sai Acuity Institute of Learning Private Limited. I'm very excited. Very excited because I'm going to introduce you to my friend whom I've worked with at an earlier organization for almost 5 years. Uh, this is going to be an exciting podcast, believe me. I'm thinking of starting off these Monday morning podcasts. Reason is, every Monday morning, all of us feel pretty lazy to go to office, right? That's normal. But the time that we can drive down to office can be utilized optimally. So there, I was thinking, can I come up with a kind of a podcast which is video and also audio, so you can listen in, or if you want, you can actually view it early in the morning before you start off to office. So let's say I start out to office say around 8 o'clock, and I've got a podcast which is for maybe around 25-30 minutes, something on learning trends. I'll be definitely interested to know. And as they say, start the day with learning. So we can definitely do that. So that's the concept that not something new. People are doing podcasts for different reasons, but my reason is Monday morning podcasts are useful because on Monday morning, typically it's pretty hectic for all of us, right? We go to office review in terms of what needs to be done, what has been done, and get on to execute the plans. But before that, if we have a space of half an hour where we can listen into industry experts on emerging trends, specifically on learning and development, leadership development, I'll be very interested because it takes an hour for me to reach office. And if half an hour can be used to listen into insights, and if one or two insights are useful for me to create a kind of a strategy, nothing like it. Uh, so, warm welcome again to my podcast. I'm calling it as a Monday morning podcast, Monday morning learning podcast to be very specific. And my first guest is Praveen Pantula. And, my friends know that both of us have actually worked together back in the early organization. And we had a fantastic collaboration. He started off being the HR business partner for technology lines of businesses, and then moved into learning and development space. And he's been a very successful learning and development partner for technology business. Some of the learning interventions, leadership interventions, I should say, that he has conceptualized and executed are still talked about in the corridors of that previous organization. So I'm pretty excited to welcome Praveen Pantula to the podcast and to talk about Praveen. He's done his MBA back in 2007, 2008 at the Great Lakes Institute in Chennai. Uh, he's worked in organizations like CSC, Adobe, Wells Fargo, Franklin Templeton, and others. Is known to be an industry expert on human capital management, and I've actually prepared some questions for him. Really waiting to learn because the man doesn't stay quiet. He actually tastes the learning like coffee. Every now and then he comes up with new ideas, and it is very difficult to work with him because he's constantly thinking to improve, constantly thinking to impact. The credibility of L&D team when we were actually working together went on to a pretty high because of him. So yes, welcome Praveen Pantula, and audience. If you have any questions, do let me know. I will ask him towards the end of the podcast as such. And pretty excited, as you can see. Monday morning learning podcast, Ravi Jagarlapudi, Sai Acuity. Thank you, guys.